Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yep, this is me, King David D. Come here to speak to you and to give everyone, I guess you might say, a basic ideal of my epiphany, in which that I've come to the reality of believing that what my mission is here in this world today. And I speak about that because for a good number of years, there was always a little, very vague interception that was going on with me in my life that I wasn't quite too sure of, and I didn't really wasn't at that place in my life to actually put a finger on it and to say that it was that, and for sure that it was what I was coming to discover in my life was the definite acts of my Father God and speaking to me to help me to understand what was taking place. You know, we all say that God works in mysterious ways. And that is a cliche that is so real. It is just bottling. I'm telling you, I mean, especially when you come to actually had already accepted it, but from the way that this society programs us automatically from how what we understand and how we are placed and looked at by one another in this world, you will have somewhat of a slow response to some of the actual directions in which that that our Father God is given to you. I ask people often, do you believe that uh, the Ten Commandments was just a tip of the iceberg of our Father God's commandments? And the reason why I say that is because we are all unique in God's eyes. Therefore, each and every one of us have an assignment. Some come to find their assignment a lot quicker than others. Some may know, but choose not to yield to our Father God's commandments and what His purpose was for them or you. And so, you know, I speak about this now because more and more am I coming to find my place with my Father and exactly what He has assigned me to do. And what he's What he's saying to me is that I need to continue seeking his commandments. I need to continue to look towards this direction in which that he has already tailor-made for me. And so I tell everyone that we are all unique in our Father God's eyes, and that we all have our personal assignments in which that our Father God has placed on us. But see, what it is we need to yield to what our Father God assignment is. You know, we need to talk to him and to ask him, Father God, do I have this right? Is this what you're saying to me? And then don't just leave it there. Because see, we all know the truth when the truth hits us. And it's all about accepting the truth or ignoring it. And so I know for a fact the direction in which that my Father God has placed in front of me and the things that I need to do and the person I need to be. Because I had always, from the age of 3, knew that my Father God was with me. You know, and I speak to people sometimes and I say, do you remember when you was 3 years old? And everybody say no. And I tell them, I say, well, I do. You know, because it's so true. You know, I remember my tricycle and and asking my parents' friends to bring my tricycle downstairs. You know, and have them to sit it out in front of the house so I could get on my tricycle and ride. You know, and not only that, I remember the dogs that my grandfather had in the backyard, and the area and the house that we lived in. I mean, this house was like something you would see in a ghost tale. I'm serious. It was gruesome. But still, along the way, I knew my Father God had plenty to say to me. And so I would listen. I would go when I lived on North Rose Street, go in my backyard and I would climb up in the trees at a young age and talk to God. I would sit in those trees and actually knew that God's presence was with me. Now, I don't think too many kids have an epiphany like that at that age that God was with them, or even paying attention, or even understanding who, oh, cared to understand who God was. But you see, I had to come to the reality of who I was and understand exactly of how the adversary would try to steer me to believe of what I needed to be instead of listening to my Father God. But see, I have not, and I will not, even in the days of my addiction, when I was a out cold alcoholic, drug addict, all these other things. Now, see, we know that the adversary will have a tendency to direct us. But see, it is up to us as individuals to follow or not to follow. And I did a lot of following. And I knew that what I was doing was not right. And all along, while I was going through these various different experiences in my life, I would speak to God. I can recall walking up and down the railroad tracks over there on uh, Rose Street over to Burdick and up to church, and understanding that I was in the middle of being homeless and trying to figure it out of what I needed to do. So I would pray as I walked along, going to the liquor store to get me a half a pint, or go to the dope dealer's house to get me a rod. Now, some people may say, how hypocritical could it be? Our Father God is with us no matter where we choose to be. He is there. It's all about us acknowledging. It's all about us seeking His words to us and to continue to talk to Him on a regular basis. And which that I did. I spoke to my Father on a regular basis, regardless of the situation that I have found myself doing. You know, alcohol, drugs, doing all these different things. One of my fancies were women. I've always loved me some woman. But then everyone would say, well, that's just a natural thing that all men do love. And that's true. But not all men. Some men would rather go. There are some men that actually believe that their purpose here in this life was to find a man and call him his wife. Now, if that's not arranged, I don't know what it is, you know. But to each his own. We are all still God's children. And we cannot be judgmental towards anyone simply because of what they do. Just pray for them and ask, you know, that our Father God will lead them and help them before they fall off the cliff. Now, one of the things that I found myself coming to the actual realization of was my beautiful black women. As much as I do love them, I can't say that I receive the same compliments from them. Simply because of my status in this existence. And there's nothing I can do about it because we are all programmed to seek and find some things that is good for us, and then there's most of it that ain't good for us. You know, and what's good to us isn't always good for us. And so I had to accept my rejections that I found on a continuous basis between me and my beautiful sisters, regardless. if they accepted me or not. So I had got to a place in my life to where no other race could be in that direction, and which that I would even entertain the thought of them being my wife. So I go on and I go on and I do what I know that is true, and I act in the way in which that I know my Father God is leading me to do and to be true. But I'm gonna admit that I didn't always stick to what was true and what was best for me in order for me to find my key to what exactly my Father God had created me to be. But so I was in my 30s and I was living in Kansas City, Missouri. And as in before in those times, I would pray to my Father God and ask him exactly what it is that he chooses for me to do. And so he read a poem to me, and he signed it inside of my head. And so I wrote the words down. One morning I got up out of bed. And this poem that my Father God had gave to me goes something like, facing the reflections of the images in my road in time, seeing all my ins and outs to love and peace of mind. I know my key is just up ahead, whereupon I will find my key from my Father God to make my bed. But until I finally make it there, all my collective thoughts are all just in my prayers. Pieces of dreams of how it was, how it is, and how it will be. If I can sustain control over my heart, I will sustain control of me. But if I can sustain control of my love, I will sustain my destiny. And it was clear all in my head that this was something that my Father God gave to me, that I needed to say and I needed to share it every day. And there are a number of other points that I've written down that I know that it came from my Father. You know, we have this thing that we say in this world where, but how we are living in denial, and no matter what takes place with us. And one of those things that we are in denial of, when our Father God is speaking to us, and what we will say about that is that something told me. Yeah, that something. When all along it was God. So I let go of that description, and so when I reach an epiphany and come to the realization of a direction in which that my Father God has directed me and pointing me in the direction that I needed to go, I will always speak and let the world know. My Father God led me in this direction to find out who I am and to finally come to the epiphany of who is my true love for my affection. So I try to continue to keep my eyes on the prize in which that I pray for on a daily basis, to ask my Father God to lead me in the direction to find that true love and affection. But see, first I had to come to the realization of understanding exactly what love was. And isn't this is the one that we struggle with pretty much close to all our lives. I ain't gonna say everybody, struggle with it, but I'm sure there's a good number of them that do struggle with this. And that struggle is when they cannot see forests because it's too many trees. you know, and do not accept that our Father God is love. Looking for love, you already found it. You're thinking about it when you get on your knees at night and you pray. You're praying to love. Our Father God is love. So whether if you know it or not, you are already in love. But see, you have to respect love. And you have to let love know that you appreciate him and do what is right unto you and to our Father God's other children, unto them. Because we know that what it is that we are expected to do is to love our brothers and sisters as we would love you or ourselves. And we need to understand that these are the days that we sincerely need come to some type of realization of who love is. Yes, who love is. Not what love is. Who love is. And this is my epiphany that my Father God said to me. I should tell everyone that trying to find that key, that is our Father God that loves us, love you, and love me. But you will be hearing from me again, my friends. But in the meantime, you know, this King David D coming to you and sharing a part of me. And asking you to know something, that I love you. Do you love me?